Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for a live stream. Today is Thursday, October 5th, 2023. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed already. A lot of stuff happening with Chicago Marathon weekend. I'm feeling behind. And yeah, we'll talk all about it. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening in on the podcast on the audio only version. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic run out there today. The weather in Chicagoland is beautiful, wonderfully brisk. Not chilly yet. I think it will start cooling down. I'm not sure if we're going to get the rain that they said we were going to get today, but temperatures have been dropping. And as much as I keep refreshing that weather forecast for Chicago Marathon morning, it still looks fantastic as of now. So fingers crossed that it still holds. I've never seen the weather not change in terms of the forecast in Chicago. So I'm not hoping for bad weather. I'm hoping for great weather. But it just seems too good to be true. And everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the number one podcast to talk about how difficult it is to like sell stuff. I'm basically trying to start a business, overnight, and it's taking me a little bit longer than I hoped for. So there is no link yet to buy the singlets, but I do think because I guess this is a good time to start explaining. So Kafuzi Run Club singlets came in yesterday, weeks earlier than I was expecting. I was not expecting to have them before the Chicago Marathon, but since a lot of you guys are in town, I was thinking that I should get that shop set up. So if you guys want to buy them and you're in town, I can get them to you personally. That's the idea. That's the hope. That's the goal. Because I'll be around for two main events. Friday night at the Fleet Feet event, and then Saturday for the pizza party. So I'm gonna try to get that done today or tonight, but just running out of time. I keep having to like fill out forms and do all this extra stuff, and I have to take product photos and inventory and all those things. So yeah, a lot of stuff. So hopefully I can get that done. I was gonna try and go to the 3 Run 2 social run today. It's a big event. 3 Run 2 invites in basically all the run clubs that are coming in for Chicago Marathon. They do a giant group run together. It always looks like such a fun time, and I wanted to go today, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. I don't know. That's the thing. So we'll see. We'll see. And Kevin Dalva Paleshny says, take your time, but post a link in the Discord first. Yeah, so we talked about doing a Discord yesterday. Calvin Wong took the liberty of setting, I think it was Calvin, right? Set up the Discord, and I left the notifications on. And I don't know how you guys are finding out about it, but people are signing up for that. So if you want to do that, you can. That'll be like the official message board for us. But it is a Kafuzi Run Club singlet, so that's where I'll post a link first. I was hoping to get it to you guys here and just drop a link in the chat today. But oh man, it's just more. It's a lot of tedium, a lot of things that I gotta boxes to check and forms to fill out and stuff like that. So yeah, so sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody. But I will get it done. I will get it done. Video Guy Man 7 says, "Yo, what's going on? Just landed in Chicago. Awesome." And Mark Peterson's got some mile repeats on tap today. 20-mile-per-hour winds. So I have to find a good spot to hide from both the wind and traffic. That sounds brutal. At least it's not 86 degrees anymore up there for you, Mark. I had mile repeats on tap today, too. I ran in the Saucony Sinisters. And, I was just starting to think that, like, are we marking the turn from super tall stack height shoes to running in like race flats again? By the end of this workout, I was like, no, we're not there yet. The technology's not there. It's a fun shoe to run in, but it was hard. It's a difficult shoe to run in. So there was that. All right. Midlife Runner says, yo, what's going on? Rain this morning, this weekend. First sub 70 degrees weather in the morning. Fall in San Antonio. Finally there. 80s for a high. PBs, here we come. Time to train for Houston. I'm with you. Hopefully running the half. I think I'm going to run in the Evo 1s for the half marathon. So we'll see. Mark Peterson says, "Oh no, I'm too old to figure out Discord." As far as I can tell, and I think this is going to be a way big oversimplification, possibly. It's just a message board. There's an app. There's a message board. I think that's all it really is. There's little sub message boards that you can go in there too. I'm trying to figure out like the syntax and all that stuff. It looks like a lot of you guys are joining in now. My watch is buzzing every time someone else joins. But so hopefully I'll see you guys there. Hunter Holt says, "Give me the link to the Discord." I actually don't know the link to the Discord. Maybe Calvin can put it in. Someone could drop it in here. Oh, okay. Kevin Deliva Palestini says Calvin posted it on the Strava run group, the Cozy Run Club group. So that's why people are finding out about it. Okay, cool. Paul says, excuse me. Quick question. Which is the recently released shoe which says good for X marathons on the box, and how many is X? I'm not sure what shoe you're talking about. I know the Evo 1, which has been the shoe that like everyone's been talking about, is good for 1 marathon. On Cloud Boom Echo 3 is good for 4 marathons. And that might be the one you're talking about. Tiba says, "Hey, favorite hydration for the price? Anything with some magnesium in it?" I would say favorite for the price is going to be Gatorade Endurance. I think there's a little bit of magnesium in it, not a lot. It has more salt and more sugar than, basically it's much more salt than the regular Gatorade. Gatorade is probably the best for the price. I like Scratch. Tailwind is pretty good. Those are the 2 that I drink the most, or like the 3: Gatorade, Scratch, and Tailwind, but mostly just Gatorade and Scratch. For some reason, I've come across a bunch of Tailwind this summer, so I've been drinking a lot about Tailwind. All right. Go Ring with Oliver says, talking about the tracksmith apology. It's interesting. There was a lot of stuff going on with that tracksmith stuff, and ultimately, I refrained from like commenting on the tracksmith and BA stuff, like on social media, and I'm kind of glad I did. We talked about a little bit about it yesterday, but today, for those of you who haven't been following it, Tracksmith posted something about their BQ singlet, which they've been making this BQ singlet for years now. I don't know if this was the first year where you have to to buy it, you had to submit your BQ time. And I think that what they were trying to capitalize on is, and I think the energy was, I don't know if it was in the right place, but the energy was in a place that I had no problem with. The idea is you submit, if you have a BQ, then you can buy the singlet. You'll get a link to be able to buy the singlet. But only BQ people who have a BQ can buy it, that singlet. The way that they got kind of sideways on it was that they were, at least my take on it is that, so there's multiple levels. So I think the part that was Tracksmith's problem is the way that they were selling it, and to motivate it is they were quoting one of the early race directors who said that this isn't a jogging race. My understanding that, and so the idea is this isn't a race. This is something where you're pursuing excellence. And so cutoffs are hard, buffer times are hard, but that's what the pursuit of excellence is. Sometimes you run really hard, and just like in any running race, you might have your PR day, but if other people do better, you still don't get to win. I think that's where they were going with all that. I think the problem with that, though, is I think that quote, "This is not a jogging race," I think that was in reference to whether or not to allow women in the Boston Marathon. And that race director, I think, was the same race director who physically tried to remove Joan Benoit, right, from the race. I think that's where it got all sorts of twisted. And so it took a couple of days, but they apologized. They removed the post, and now they're saying that we apologize for offending people, a pretty standard apology. I think it was a well-written apology. I think it was a good apology. And I think that they made the right decision. I think they should have done that. I know, and I've been hearing from, I'm on a relay group chat. So like Tommy Runs, Matt Chittum, Laura Thweet, lots of people that are on that one. Peter Bromka, Lindsay Hine, Marcus. And so like there was just like a lot of people there talking about it, and they discussed the same subject as well in one of the last relay podcasts. And so like I'm hearing a lot over there, and apparently what I gathered from that group chat, without trying to get to double triple hearsay, is that there was a lot of discussion internally about the pushback from tracksmith internally, and also tracksmith kind of like people, like influencers, right? People that tracksmith supports their podcasts or their running or whatever. So it was, yeah, I mean, the other level of it though then was people were then also mad about Boston generally too. And so those two things I think got a little bit conflated, but I mean, that's my understanding of the whole tracksmith controversy. Sean Devlin says, I just unburned all my tracksmith gear after the apology. It was a good apology. I think it was what it needed to be. Getting to Run says, I'm here for the singlet talk. The Cozy Run Club, not the tracksmith singlet, or both. Yeah. So like, I probably at some point will, because I'll be talking about it a lot. I already posted a reel about yesterday's unboxing. I probably at some point will say that, like, submission, like race time submission not required. There will be some sort of joke about it. Yeah. So it is interesting. A lot of people got rain today. Andrew Scott says he got rain in Indy. Vanessa says he got rain in Austin. Oh, interesting. Yeah, cool. Go Running with Oliver is going to land tomorrow in Chicago. You're coming on Friday? Okay, Friday's a good day. Running Shoes World is already here. He got here yesterday, I think. Hopefully I'll be able to run into him at some point. Eric says that someone's saying the audio's off. Let me check the audio. Oh, here we go. That's why the audio's... Is this the audio's better now? Sorry, guys. I was in such a rush. I'm off my game today. I'm all flustered from the Shopify thing. Eric says that the Front Range of Colorado weather is blissful. Nice. All right. Sorry about the audio problems, man. Tony says, "Are you going to be signing singlets in Chicago? Probably got to practice that quick signature. If someone wants me to sign theirs, I'll sign it. But I wasn't planning on it. But maybe that's something that we could do for. I don't know how many. Hopefully there'll be none left by New York. But if there are, maybe we'll do a meet and greet and like a singlet signing. I don't know. This is something I should have really coordinated this better, Tony. But you know me, I'm bad at planning these things. Rusty Chile says, would Houston be a good marathon for a first-timer? I think it's a fantastic marathon for a first-timer. It's a great one. It's a big race, but it's not as crazy as some of like a world major marathon in terms of like getting through security. There is security and it's good, but it's not as like frenetic as like with a major. There's plenty of room to get ready. You stay inside in the convention center before they walk you out in the morning so that you can stay warmer for a little bit longer. And then there's breakfast afterwards. It's a good race. It's very well organized. Rylan Pearson says, where'd you get the shelves for your shoes? I got them at IKEA, and then you just buy a whole bunch of extra shelves. I gotta buy a couple more. I need another rack. I'm overflowing already. Steve McKellar says, coming back from an ankle injury, I've been maintaining my fitness on the bike. For the Detroit half next week, should I trust my Garmin Predictor at 204, or should I go for my goal to break 2? I would at least, if you haven't been running a lot, I mean, fitness on the bike is great. But like, especially like if you're coming back from an ankle injury, depending on how an ankle feels, I don't know how much you want to press that. I'm not sure that I would go to try and set a PR for my first run back from an injury. But I mean, you got to know your own ankle. You know what I'm saying, Steve? So I generally don't trust the Garmin predictors. I think the longer the distance, the less I would trust it. So for a half marathon, I not trust 5K, maybe 10K, maybe. It depends on like, I don't know how they come up with that number. And so, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Mark says for the tracksmith singlet, he says they used to make you submit times, and last year he didn't have to, which surprised him. He says, so I think they just reinstated the policy. Yeah, so like in theory, I like what the tracksmith BQ singlet is. It is like an in-between recognition. And that's how I always took it. It is for those, like ideally for those people who qualified for Boston but didn't hit the cutoff times. You know what I mean? And so that way you still have something that you can take away from it instead of it just being like feeling I worked real hard and came back empty-handed. That's kind of how I always thought the tracksmith singlet was. But this year, I think they also tweaked it. Like you can only wear the BQ singlet if you BQ'd and were running for 2024. It was a weird thing where I was like, what? I don't understand. Because then at that point, just by the Boston, it's not a BQ, it's a Boston singlet. You know, I didn't understand that. There was parts that didn't make sense to me, but you know, I don't know. Richard Wilson says, it's for people who want to flex, but have to actually go to Boston. Like, I don't think I like, yeah, there was a weird thing though, but I don't think I could have bought one because I didn't sign up to be in the lottery or to run 2024. So. Yeah, Sean said, yeah, you have to submit a picture of your acceptance email to Boston too. That's just weird. So that's where I think it is different. I don't think that singlet's always been that way. I don't know. JC said, I BQ'd Boston and I didn't even get the lousy shirt. I did BQ at Boston. And I think that I would have had enough of a buffer from my Boston run, which wasn't even my PR run. I don't know. Not that it matters. Daniel Burton says, what shoes are you wearing in Chicago? So I think what we decided is we're going to try to put together for our group. No? I think that could be a discussion for the Discord. I'm open to 4 hours or 4:30, depending on where people are going to be. Or 3:30. 3:30 is going to be a little bit more work for me. If it's 3:30, I might change my shoe choice. But if we're doing 4 or 4:30, I'm going to probably go with the SC Trainer 2. That'd be a pretty fun shoe to do it. I was also thinking about maybe the Topo Cyclone 2, maybe the 1080 version 13. Those were some that I was thinking about. Go Running with Lava says, have your shakeouts ever accidentally run into other group shakeouts? Yes, for sure. It happened this in Boston. I think we lost some people because the way that we had set up the run, we ended up crossing paths with another shakeout run. I think it was the Bandit shakeout. And so I think some people went with the Bandit shakeout. And then I think that, I don't know how they got back. I'm not sure what happened after that. So that's definitely happened before. And there's, whenever we do a shakeout for Cherry Blossom, we always end up running into one of the DC run clubs, like Flyby. But it's a nice high five session. Everyone's giving each other like high fives. It's super cool. Video says Co's gone full weatherman mode with his shoe on the shelf pointing. I'm getting pretty good at it. Like here's the Adios Pro 3. We got an Adidas front coming in on the northeast. Then a little bit to the south we have some Asics and New Balance coming in with a strong Solomon front here coming in from the west. Scottish Rosetta happened at CIM too. Did we see another shakeout at CM? Yeah, I don't know. Calvin says you would have figured it would have been the Strung 2. Well, the Strung 2 would be a lot of fun, and that would normally be a really good choice. But since I ran Boston in the Strung 1, I just felt like, let's spread it around a little bit. Like a shoe that I really want to be able to race in is the Endorphin Elite. But it's just like I'm not racing Chicago. And so I was thinking I would run Houston half in the Endorphin Elite, but now I'm probably gonna run it in the Evo 1. So yeah, I don't know. Al Dickinson says, I'll join the 4 hours group for the start. Try hard in the middle and crash, and then maybe catch back in with yous. All right. What corral is that? What corral is a 4-hour pace group? Is that C or? I'm normally in B corral. So 4-hour group is that C or D? I'll go wherever you guys are. Frank says in Boston I took a shortcut and did a run around the park. Well, that's true. At the end of it, I did run around the park though. Well, I did take a shortcut, but we had the crossover earlier before we got to that park. I took a shortcut because I was running with a different pace group, and I was like, all right, well, we should probably cut that extra little loop off so that we can all meet back up together at the same time. We'd have the same amount of running, different distance, but same amount of time. So that's what I did. Sam says, is it unrealistic to try and get a sub-3 marathon for my first marathon? It's not unrealistic. Many people do it, much to my chagrin. I mean, I feel like it's not fair when people can do that, but many people do. Many people do. That wasn't me, but so people can do it. I think that like if you have certain indicator workouts, then I think that like that would tell me that you're in 3-hour marathon shape. If you're doing like mile repeats with short recoveries, like 6 minutes at threshold work, and then 1 minute recoveries, and if you're doing that in like a good indicator workout for me would be like if you're doing that like about 6:15s, that's good sign that you're ready for sub 3. If you're doing a long run and you could do 10 miles in the middle, like 3-mile warm up, 10 miles at 6:50s, and then 3-mile cool down for a long run, and you don't have to walk to recover after that 10-mile spot, that's a good indicator that you're ready for a sub 3. Those are some indicator workouts that I would use. But there's no reason why people can't go under 3 hours for their first one. All right. Dwayne Magno says, sorry I missed this. Are you going to be at CIM this year? Yes. I'm not running, but I will be there. I'm working on trying to put together. Did I tell you guys this already, or is this news? I'm working on trying to put together a spaghetti dinner for everybody. We'll see if we can make that happen. But that's the plan. That's the plan. 40's here. What's going on, Chris? He says, have fun this weekend, big boy. Some of my crew out there and sending them your way. Hopefully see you in New York City or TRE later in November. Oh, you coming out to TRE? Well, I'll definitely be there in New York. I know you're coming with Believe in the Run guys, so I'll be there for the shakeout run. So I already told Thomas, put me in charge of a pace group, because he says that you guys are expecting a lot of people there. So that should be a lot of fun. So I'll definitely see you at least there. Ryan Tiramonte says, can I use the Asics Nova Blast 3 trail for a road marathon? Absolutely. That's what I'm going to be running around a lot in this weekend, the Nova Blast 3 trail. Cobalt Blue says, are you doing Cherry Blossom next year? I really like that race. Well, I love cherry blossom trees. And I love that race that time of year. Maybe. I've been ASICS has been inviting me to go. I mean, they haven't invited me yet, but they haven't not invited me either. But I don't know. I do really like that race a lot. 10 miles is always a fun distance to race, I feel like. Derek Silva says, you can use whichever shoe you want for a marathon, everyone. That's true. That's true. I mean, there's some that I wouldn't think are great choices, though. So, like, for example, today, I ran in the Saucony Sinister. It is a low stack height, power run PB shoe, no plate. Very fun to run fast in. I don't know that I can run a marathon in that shoe. It's just not enough cushion. It's just, I don't know if I could. I'm starting to think that I maybe can run a marathon in the Takumi Sen. And I'd like to try that. But I even then, I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain point where it's been a long time since I didn't really race marathons in the race flats. My first marathons were in daily trainers. And then I went from that to basically like to carbon plated shoes. And so I never raced in like a Zoom Streak or like an A6, the Saucony A6, letter A, number 6. So like, but running in the Sinister today kind of gave me a sense of what that old world was like. And for me, towards the end of the workout, I'm like, it's not that my feet hurt, but my body is taking a beating and it's causing a different kind of fatigue that I'm just not used to. So, yeah. So that's what makes it hard. Like the marathon distance is more accessible to people now because you're just not taking the beating of the road. You know. Calvin says, isn't the Nimbus 25 trail out now too? It is. I've seen that. I'm not sure I want to run with that shoe on the trails. I don't know. I've seen it, but it's not been that compelling to me. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Shannon says, I can't believe people used to run marathons in Boston's. The 9 is good for a 5K and then I'm done. I think I can run a marathon. I got to go find an old Boston 9 just to have it for comparison purposes. If I can find an old new pair like on eBay somewhere, that'd be great. I don't think I'll be able to because I don't think people were saving that one. You know what I mean? So. Oh, Theodore 1977 says, for a 15K race, would you use the Takumi Sen or the Endorphin Pro 2? I might lean towards the Endorphin Pro 2 for 15K because it's a little bit longer. But the Takumi Sen can certainly handle it as well. I raced Clearwater half marathon in the Endorphin Pro 2, and I just had a lot of fun in that. Calvin says, someone posted on Reddit today that in the Asia Games, a North Korean runner got second in the Adidas Adios from 2015. That is, I mean, maybe that's because I got 2 comments. One, maybe that's because it's the most advanced running technology available in North Korea right now. But my second comment is, what's interesting is, so people have been asking a lot of questions about the Evo Pro 1. And I've been telling people, like, they're like, how different is it from a Pro 3? Is it worth double the price? And I'm like, you're asking the wrong question. But to kind of like to try and give you the information that you're looking for. I mean, it's like saying, like, is that Mercedes concept car at the Detroit Auto Show going to be worth the $150,000 or $200,000 that they would charge for it if they were to sell it, you know, kind of thing? But like the other thing is like someone else. So I've been responding to people. I'm like, it's less like an Adios Pro to me and more like a marathon Takumi. That's because of the way that the rocker is. just feels very, very neutral, just like the Takumi Sens feels very neutral to me. I don't feel a strong rocker sensation. I just feel like I'm running on really great foam. But it's something that I feel like I could take for a marathon. Where the Takumi, I'm like, this is a little bit raw, you know? It's exciting, but I don't know that I can take it for 26 miles. And so people were like, well, that makes sense. Someone won the Asia Games in a Takumi Sen. And I was like, someone from North Korea won in the Takumi Sen. So, like, the facts are very different, the ones that have been being told to me by this person on Instagram. And, like, my immediate instinct, and I looked at the username of the person who did it, who wrote that, and I was like, it's not a grumpy white guy name. And I looked at the profile, it's not a grumpy white dude, because a lot of the times when someone says, oh, by the way, something North Korea, to me, it's usually subtly, if not overtly, racist. So like my defenses are automatically up the moment I see the word North Korea in any kind of internet conversation. So it's interesting that you brought that up, and I was just like, I number one, I have no idea. I don't even know what the Asia Games are, and I don't know if this guy is telling me a fact that is true or not. I still don't know if it's true or not, and I'm like, well, I think this guy might be Asian. I don't know. That doesn't mean you can't be racist to other kinds of Asians. So but I don't know. It was that was my take on the whole like North Korean runner thing. Cannabis Culture Tech Life says LMFAO at grumpy white guy. Yeah. So here are my two immediate red flags. Racist red flags on the internet. One is when anyone mentions North Korea to me. Like, look in my face. People only mention North Korea when it's some sort of like racist or like microaggression or macroaggression. That's an immediate red flag. Mention North Korea. The second one is I post a wide variety of kinds of music in my Instagram reels and on my YouTube videos. I say there's a little bit of everything, right? The only time I get critique about the music being bad, it's when it's hip hop music. And so that, when there's a critique of the music, that's another instant red flag. Maybe you didn't like the song. That might be it. But there's probably other songs that I've chosen before that you didn't like. And the only time people mention it, it's when they imagine a black person is performing that song. And so those are my two racist red flags on the internet. I don't know. Sometimes I call people out for it. A lot of times I just delete it. Just get rid of it, Stephen C. 1984, to change the subject, make it a little bit lighter, says, I ran in the Boston 9 today. He's got another 2 pair new in the Boston color too. Stephen C., you are hoarding them. I think that's a good idea, though. Are you going to run in the last one, or are you just going to save that one? I don't know. I feel like maybe you should save it. Viet Nguyen says, a microaggression I struggle with is, have you ever been back to? Is that a microaggression? I'm trying to think. I could see it. I haven't picked up on that one. Interesting. Mark Peterson says, pick a honky-tonk country song and test it out. I mean, I do a lot of, I love bluegrass. And I love like old scratchy Delta blues, like a guitar and like a bass drum, like that kind of thing, and maybe like a snare, like old, like when the record, it's like the best high fidelity recording that exists left is still scratchy and crackling. Like that kind of Delta blues, I think is beautiful. I love it. Not that that's honky tonk, certainly not. But like, and I've put a lot of that stuff on before, and no one ever comments whether they like it or not. Although Shannon says Ko has a great music mix. I critiqued him when he used like country west music for the alternate tones before they weren't good. How sad it was in rap. There you go. Funny. Mm-hmm. Stephen C says, I didn't know this. London 2012, they put up a South Korean flag instead of a North Korean flag for a women's soccer game. Oops. Yeah, that's a big mistake. North Korea would be real. I think North Korea would be more mad than South Korea about that one. Daniel Ritton says, "Ko, do you like reggae music?" I enjoy the genre. I can't say that I know very many artists. My wife really likes reggae music. So it'll be on at the house from time to time. I like this could be a funny conversation if we're going to start listing our microaggressions here. Eliza says, my microaggression is before I say anything, the person asks if I speak English. Usually when people say that, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. If that's what comes out, you know? But I don't know. And then Calvin says, which Korea are you from? A question I heard too many times growing up. Yeah, I heard that a lot of times growing up too. And this would be like fourth grade me and another like fourth grade kid. Like, which Korea are you from? I'm like, South Korea. And they'd be like, oh, whew. Because otherwise, you know. And I'm like, what? This is Piscataway, New Jersey, my friend. Like, what are you talking about here? Funeral 1977 says, I get asked if I've been back to New Zealand a lot, but I am a white guy who wasn't born in America. So kind of annoying because I have to explain that. No, I can't really afford it easily. That's a long journey. Vanessa Martinez says, my favorite racist red flag is where are your people from? I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that. But yeah. Because you know that question comes from someone having had a previous interaction with another person of color, and they've said, where are you from? And that person has answered New Jersey. And they're like, no, like, where are you really, really from? I'm like, Piscataway. And they're like, no, like, where are your parents from? Like, my parents also lived in Piscataway. You know, like, there's that. And they're like, well, where are you from originally? I'm like, I don't. You know, so someone has had that conversation with someone before. And so that's where, like, the next time they've tried and thought about ways to circumvent that, and that's where that question comes from. It's really funny to mess with people that do that. I don't think anyone's ever asked me, where are your people from? I feel like if I did, I'd be like, the land of diners. The land of diners and ketchup on breakfast sandwiches. Salt, pepper, ketchup. Kellen Hulin says, I'm sorry if it's the first half. Is a single out for sale yet? Not yet, because I take a long time to set things up. And I'm sorry. I will get it up as soon as I can. My goal, I'm going to get it up tonight. I'll do it. Yeah. Lala, he says, I hate it when people try their Spanish on me. I'm so sorry that it happens to you. I will tell you that no one has ever tried their. Well, no, that's not true. People try their Korean on me, actually a lot, but it's just so bad. Usually when people do that, and I also don't speak that much Korean anymore, so it's usually something like, oh, you're Korean? And they'll say something like, 안녕하십니까? And I'm like, what? because they're not saying it right, and yeah, I don't know. My cream being bad is probably would help that situation, but like, yeah, sometimes people try it with me, and it's really bad. Eric Gage says, "Have you had a race canceled on you?" I'm still processing Twin Cities last weekend. I'm trying to think. I don't know that I've ever had a race canceled on me. I wasn't running Chicago the year that they canceled it, like halfway through. It got really hot, like in the 80s. Fire trucks came out and were just spraying like into the air so that it would rain on people. But like they were like on loudspeakers. There was like the motorcycles are going through with the bullhorn, and it was just like the race is canceled. Step off the course. It's too hot. That thing. But I don't think I've ever had one that was canceled on me. Going with Lotto says, "Did you ever think Ben Johnson would be the poster boy for the Chicago Marathon? His poster is everywhere." Is it really? I thought he made that graphic himself. That's a real poster? That's amazing. I love that. That's great. That's incredible. Vietnam says, "For the people that ask where your people are from, is that they know it's low-key racist, so they have to ask it in a roundabout way." Alan Zelinsky says, "My favorite racist start is, I'm not racist, but..." That's funny. Jennifer Herring says, "I'm honored to have lived in Piscataway, New Jersey, too, where Cole lived also. And unfortunately for me, I only lived in Piscataway for a really short amount of time. I did really enjoy it there. I went to the Arbor School, middle school, for a little bit while I was there. I really enjoyed that. That was the first house that my parents' first house that they bought was in Piscataway. That's why we were there. It was really near the Middlesex Mall. That had like a Roy Rogers in the parking lot, and then across the street was the first Taco Bell that I ever went to. A lot of good memories. Yeah, I remember that neighborhood. We would ride bikes around that neighborhood like crazy. We'd chase the ice cream man around on our bikes. I feel like the guy was messing with us. He knew we were coming. He knew we were there, but he would just keep driving anyway. It was fun. That was the time when I lived in Piscataway, New Jersey. That was like the strange confluence of like Young MC was popular, and so was American Gladiators. It was a weird time. It was a very weird time. It was when Blockbuster just started renting video games as well. That was an amazing thing. Like Super Mario Brothers 3 was popular. Yeah. That takes me back. Richard Wilson says, "My wife, who is Russian, is dark complexion and used to get people to try to speak Spanish to her all the time." Oh my goodness. Yeah, says, "One guy told me that he loves Asian food and that his favorite food is number 6, honey walnut shrimp with the rice." Is there such thing in walnuts in East Asian cuisine? I don't even know. Interesting. Stephen C. 1984 says, "Where I live, they canceled a half marathon on the morning of, as the water wasn't delivered. Lots of people just ran anyway." That's a good reason to cancel the race, though, if they didn't get the water. You can't have that. Oh, okay. Mark Peterson says, "Ben Johnson was the poster child on an official Chicago Marathon email yesterday." That is so good. I got that email. I haven't looked at it yet. I remember seeing the email, but I guess I just haven't opened it. Mm. Scuba Sun says this chat is now a therapy session. we're all reliving our trauma here. Kevin Deliva Palechny says, you probably discussed this before. Is there a specific reason you move out to the burbs? How are you liking it compared to the city? When I closed my business down, my wife and I no longer had any reason to have to be close to downtown Chicago. So we have been living, the four of us, in a less than 1,000 square foot condo for a long time. My wife and I bought that place in 2008, 2007, thinking it'd be a nice starter home. And then we'd move out in like 3 to 5 years. Fast forward, like 15 years later, we were still there, and we were to the rafters in terms of being cramped in there. So we needed more space. We moved further west to get closer to grandma and grandpa, have some more space. My wife has been remote worker for a long time. And, I felt like it was time for her to have a real office of her own that she could work from, instead of a folding table that she would have to. We would take turns. She would work at the folding table in our bedroom during the day, and then I would have to have her clean up all of her stuff and move out of the way so that I could put shoes on top of that same folding table, and film shoes and videos at night. And so this was all happening in our bedroom. So it's just, we needed more space. After a while. Calvin Wong says, have you always been colorblind? I learned yesterday that our eyes lose their color perception over time due to UV damage. I think maybe it's gotten worse, but I've known since at least kindergarten that I'm colorblind. I have a distinct core memory of being on a carpet in kindergarten. We're all sitting around the teacher, and then she's holding up these cards and just yell out what color you see. And a blue one came out, and I'm like, purple. And they were like, no, you're dumb. And so then they were like, and the purple one came out, and I'm like, blue. And they're like, no, you're really dumb. So there was that. That's a core memory of mine. Jennifer Herring says in Piscataway, yes, I lived on Surrey Lane. I know that neighborhood. I was there after high school in 1992. Yeah, that was a good. I liked it there. It was nice. We had a nice backyard. My parents bought their first grill there. We had to put it together twice because I refused to read the instructions. I just started putting parts together, and it made my dad really mad. Because we had to take it apart, because when we got to the end, we were like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Al Dickens says, Super Mario 3 was terrific. Where were his people from? That's so funny. Mark Peterson says, though, where do you display the kids' art now? We have a little loft area upstairs that is just a upstairs play area. That's where a lot of the art is now. My daughters have their own rooms, so a lot of their art goes up on their walls in their rooms. So that's where it is. Getting Torrent says, I miss the old videos sometimes. I rewatched one recently where he started off saying, sorry, I'm surrounded by balloons. One of my favorite ones was one thing that I do miss is that at Christmas time, where we had put our Christmas tree was normally the space where I would stand to film videos. And the way that I used to do it was the condo had a lot of really great light, a lot of windows. And so I bought one of those clear suction cup shelves that you could put on glass that normally people put herbs and other small plants on. And I put my camera on that, and I would basically be facing a window. And that window was where the Christmas tree would go. So like for like a good 2 months out of the year, because we keep the tree up for a long time. 2 months out of the year, videos like half of the frame was like a Christmas tree, and then I had to like kind of like wedge around it to film a video. Vanessa Martinez says, "Oh, sweet colorblind co. My karate school has a form for parents to fill out before the kids start. It helps us teachers know about medical or learning issues. That's always nice. The thing is, I don't think my parents knew. My parents did not know. So even if there was a form, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't have known how to put anything in it." Shannon says, "When is baby the special guest of the live stream?" She's in school now, so like she's not here during the day, not anymore. So, yeah. Calvin says, "Colorblindness is not a thing for Asian parents. Study the colors harder." That's funny. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for today because I'm going to go and finish setting up that shop. Once I do, you guys will be the first to know. Because you guys have the notification set up for Kofuzi Run Club, and then I guess we put it in the Discord server now too. And then I'll make a reel for now once the listing is actually up. So all that'll go up there. I was gonna go to that 3-run-2 event tonight, but I just don't know if I'm gonna have. I think this is more important than me going out for a run, a second run of the day. So all right, so that's gonna be that. So I'm gonna work on that. I still have to take a shower. I'm gross. But all right. For those of you who are in town, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Friday. No live stream tomorrow because I'm going to be downtown all day. Got to go pick up my bib. Going to do the shakeout run with Rabbit and Fleet Feet. I'm going to meet a lot of you guys. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you guys there. And have a good race. If I don't see you over this weekend, hopefully I will. And for everyone else, be safe out there. Thanks.